So the debate is on as to whether violent video games can be a catalyst for violent, murders and acts by individuals. And they look at the Columbine shooter, the Colorado theater shooting, and the Connecticut shooting, and they're saying that these individuals had been avid fans of these violent games. Now, the word for a fan in Spanish is fanático. So they were fanatics as it relates to these violent games. Now, a variety of people, Michael R. Ward, an economist, well, even an economist is getting in on this. I don't understand how they will have an economist on that. He says, I don't know that a psychological study can ever answer that question definitively. This is an economist. We are left to glean what we can from the data and research and video games use that we have. That's his, there's an economist getting on with this, and I'm not sure if he really has any opinion on this thing for real. But the one that I like best is Craig A. Anderson, and he's the director of the Center for the Study of Violence at Iowa State University, and he believes that violence in media is only one factor in mass shootings, and I think he's right in the ball. You see, the problem with education in America is that we have broad education, folks just specializing in whatever they're interested in. So the sociology, the psychology, all these things, they're just doing it, but they don't care. They just want to be an engineer or a medical doctor or a computer. That's what they're focusing on. And the way to understand this thing here, you have to have like a committee. Your mind have to be a committee. You have to have studied widely and be able to put it together. But what I would put here is that you got to put theology in, religion, Bible, and with all the other things, with all the other disciplines. It's important, because you see, the scripture says that by beholding you become changed. So by being a participant in these violent games, you're changed, and change and becoming violent. And they demonstrated certain studies that even if it's temporary, but I think it's more long lasting. But again, as humans, we can't read the mind, and we don't understand that. It says also, birds of a feather flock together. We need to guard, another religious writer, Ellen White, says, we need to guard the avenues of our soul. In other words, we have to guard what we take into our minds, because who knows what is going to affect what. And then we have to look into these people are borderline morons, and they may seem to be brilliant because many of them are in schools and all that, but they really shouldn't be there. They don't have the ability. Many of them are on medication to get through, and they have this envy that they hate others who are normally striving without all this fanfare and all this kind of medication, all this guidance and help. They're just striding along. So it's a problem, okay? And what we overlooking here is that these people are evil because they hate others, and they hate education, especially those who should come to school, because they're evil. So with the video game stimulus, folks from birth are introduced to Halloween, and then they start to explore their own private evil as they're growing up, and the devil is eager to help them along. They're going to magic, they're going to wager board, they're going to astrology, palm reading, even Wicca, and a variety of voodoo, and a variety of evils they're into. Them in the room, they're practicing all kind of stuff. One parent in California told me that these children, they have an insatiable appetite for evil, and she failed to realize that they're the ones that's starting them off on this evil by introducing them to Halloween, and they of themselves are evil. So kids generally don't fall too far from the block. It's just that they might not necessarily go out and do what these children do, because they're in a different generation. They might have had a little bit of conscience, but now these generations, I know a couple of generations ago, like in the 90s, you had young people with cards. Weren't people, they were machines. It was a sexy blue machine, and they were like guillotine, and they were killing instruments. So that while other generations have grown up trying to emulate individuals and being like the president or somebody else that's important, now it's sports star or whatever. Now their love is for a killing machine. I recall when I was teaching in Florida, these kids come in early and want to use the computer. When I go, they were at some violent place and they shoot everything that came inside. And you see, what's happening is that killing is a major activity, and you don't just kill like that. Okay, you have to have a long history of conditioning, except in self-defense. Here in Puerto Rico, almost everybody walks with a knife. Some have different types, long ones. I saw a guy with an 8-inch knife. I don't know where it came from, but you put it out and he was doing something. He's showing me it, in other words, because anyway, don't leave it off on that. But what's happening here? Everybody has a knife, and they're ready to kill you. Okay, if you get in a fight with them, you see they put a hand in the back pocket, and then they will take it out, flip it out, and they will cut you up and kill you for real. One guy, somebody was harassing him on the bus, or they had something on the bus, came off the bus and cut the fellow neck. The fellow died. They arrested him, but apparently there were no witnesses, and they decided not to try him, and he came back out, and he's looking messed up. Now as he has a kind of like the on his foot, just above the bottom of his feet, there's a whole round black thing under his ankle, and it seems as if there's rotting inside. It's black outside, like it's rotting. I don't know if he took heroin or what, but eventually what happens is that the tendons and all that are going to get destroyed, and then they'll have to cut out that foot. He just was released. Now, when you kill somebody, whether it's by accident or whatever, God had a way of dealing with that. You had to escape to the city of refuge. Even though it's in self-defense, you still had to pay some consequences. So it's manslaughter one way or another, if not murder. And that should, you see, this guy, it seems to me that now he's trying to justify himself. He's trying to talk to everybody to become accepted again. I'm ignoring him because he had threatened me once, and I really don't want anything to do with him. But when you punish them somehow, they feel justified now that, okay, I paid for that, I can move on. But you just free him like that, or if he hasn't been apprehended and tried, he has that guilt thing going on, and you never know, it's going to destroy him, and you do more and more and more of it. Yeah, so religion is very important, and if they had conscience, because more or less they're using drugs, or they had a diminished sort of a mental capacity anyway. So a part, the brain is responsible for conscience, another part for intellect, the next part for the will, the next part for the emotions. And all of these faculties are going to be diminished by drug use, or they had born with the diminished depreciated sort of a mind, as it were. Because the functioning of these different things is what they call the mind. And so, yes, the video games do have something to do with it, because it conditions them to the killing without any remorse. It's true, it's play, but you role model and you play things to get comfortable with it, gain some skills in it, and then when you go out in the real world, you could do it without even thinking about it. So that's what the games do. They condition them to the horrible killing and the mass killing, and you know, it's something just on the TV. It's not real. It's not real death, and they're conditioned, and because they do it over and over, then when they kill a real person, it's like, oh man, is that what I did? You don't even worry them. And you know what they're doing now? Individuals long ago, when they shoot somebody or kill somebody, they will run quick to the car, speed off, and the cops will be able to recognize a speeding car. Now they just shoot you. They just take the time, put up the gun, walk to the car, start it up, just drive very slow and just going. And just go maybe a block away and just stop and just stand up there just like chilling. It doesn't bother them again. So they become callous, indifferent, the lack of conscience because of the evil way they've lived and the evil things they've done. God doesn't get through to them. So this is, I think, are important. You need to look at the theology about it, what God has said, and a variety of other things, the economic situation, the frustrations, the daunted hopes, their false ambition, because many of them would like to be all kind of this and that, but they don't have what it takes to be that, and you know, they get envious and they want to kill, etc.